Royal Oak Show with Carlo Ginotti. Tonight's guest, Boys and Girls Club Executive Director Brett Tillander. Oakland County Drain Commissioner John McCulloch. Plus, it's time for the Royal Oak Eagle Scouts Roundup. And from Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle, Chrissy Burns. And now, Carlo Ginotti!
I love it. This is great. This is great. I don't even have all my family members in the audience, too, so this is authentic applause. Andy, how are you tonight?
Doing great. Carlo, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. We have a great show lined up tonight, as you've said. We've got Brett Tillander here. We've got Commissioner John McCulloch. We've got a bunch of Eagle Scouts in the audience, and we've got a special guest. We've got Chrissy Burns, a comedian tonight, that's going to come out and warm us all up. But before we get on, Andy, as usual, I've noticed a few things about spring. We got the signs of spring. Have you noticed that?
Signs are out there. Sun's in the air. The temperature's warming up. I still have more hair on my head than you do. Yeah,
this is true. I don't think that's going to change.
That's not going to change.
As I said, what I wouldn't give for that just one time, just to run my fingers through my own hair. But I won't run my fingers through yours. That's
Please don't. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, we've got first sign of spring out there. The other day, there was a robin in my backyard, and we had the tulips that came up, and I don't know if you've noticed, the lawn chair people are starting to pop up on Woodward for the Dream Cruise, so that's always a good sign. And you know, the other day, I don't know about this economy. I'll tell you, the economy in Michigan here is terrible. The other day, I ran into one of our state lawmakers down on 4th and Main, and I was talking to him, and he was telling me that everything is going to be okay, but the sign around his neck saying, "We will legislate for food," didn't fool me for one moment. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we do have a great show for you tonight, and I'm going to turn over the helm to my able partner here, Andy Aubrey, who's going to tell you what's going on in and around the city of Royal Oak. Andy, take it away. I'll tell you, with all of those things going around our great city, I don't know how anybody can be bored around here, I'll tell you, with all those
Plenty
things.
to do. That's right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest tonight. We have the director of the Southeastern Michigan, the Boys and Girls Club. Without further ado, I'm going to let him explain exactly what it is that he does, and it's Mr. Brett Tillander. Brett, welcome aboard.
Thanks,
Thank
Glad
you.
to be here.
Brett, I got a little tongue-tied there when I started. It used to be the Boys Club, then it was the Boys and Girls Club, and now the official title is the
It's the Boys and Girls Club of South Oakland County.
South Oakland County. Okay, I had that right. I remember I was a member back in Highland Park in the long time ago. In fact, I still might even have my membership card around.
That's fantastic. In fact, Jack Salter first had his Boys and Girls Club first job at the Highland Park Club.
We've talked about that. That was it was a great place when I was a kid growing up, and I'm sure you see the same thing in boys and girls now. Of course, when I was there, it was back in the days of chisels and whatnot, but it was just basically a boys club, and that's not the case anymore.
No, in fact, our club in Royal Oak was one of the first in the country to transition into Boys and Girls Clubs in 1980. Our club transitioned to Boys and Girls Clubs. In fact, the national organization didn't change until 1990, so Royal Oak is always on the cutting edge and continues to be.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
Brett, we're going to get into a little bit about the organization, but I want to talk a little bit about Brett Tillander. Brett, for those of the people out there that don't know, you were elected. You were on the city commission. Is that correct?
Yeah, I actually had the pleasure of serving out the rest of Pete Webster's term when he was elected to the county commission in Oakland County, and had the opportunity to serve as a city commissioner for a little bit more than a year, and decided once I took the position at the Boys and Girls Club not to run again. But I have great admiration for people like yourself who choose to serve, because it's a lot of work.
Now, I told him to say that, and I have to pay him $20 now. But well, the reason I ask you that, Brett, is I mean we've known each other for a very long time. In fact, when I first got involved with politics, shall we say, a long time ago, you were seated on the commission, and I always had a great deal of respect for you because you always tried to do the right thing, and certainly you followed through in your job with the Boys and Girls Club. But you have that unique situation where you've been an elected official, and now you're looking on the other side of the podium. I won't ask you which one you like better, but but it is different, correct? It's a little different, a different perspective.
It is completely, and I actually, I do have a lot of respect for folks who serve in the commission or any elected official, because for most of us, we don't realize all of the different factors that weigh into every decision. Often we'll, sitting at home, be able to say yes or no. It's simple. Why don't they just? And in all honesty, everybody works very hard up at that table, or in any table, at any position that's elected, to be able to really look at a number of factors. And we think as citizens that we know all of the factors that face elected officials, and the truth is that we don't. And then on my end of things now, serving as a Boys and Girls Club Executive Director, I really appreciate elected officials who are in tune with the needs of our community, and we're fortunate in Royal Oak that that's the case.
Oh, good. Now, how did you get involved with the Boys and Girls Club?
You know, it's funny, I was a transfer to Royal Oak High School, then Kimball, in my junior year, and I was looking for a position, and a counselor there, Dick Welsh, who was a good friend and a good leader in our community for so many years, pointed out a position that was available at the Boys and Girls Club. And I started it when I was 15 as a part-time employee, and worked for Jack Salter and Don Reed, and that's how I first walked into the Boys and Girls Club experience and saw then what it could do. I benefited from it. There was a number of things where I was able to turn to Jack and Don and the staff at the club to help me through some very difficult times, and now the club is in a position to continue to do that.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about the club in just a little while, maybe in our second segment, but you have been involved with Royal Oak, not just the public life, but you've been involved as a Royal Oaker, shall we say, since you transferred in. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, and you went to Kimball at the time.
Kimball High School, and then had the opportunity, you know, so many different ways to get involved in Royal Oak. Whether it's the Royal Oak Sandlot League, I had the opportunity to serve on that board for so long. And when we brought the Girls Softball Association together with the Boys Baseball Group to be able to leverage new opportunities and to be able to see that continue. There's so many different ways to get involved in Royal Oak. I feel blessed. My life is richer because of it.
What made you choose Royal Oak? I mean, obviously you were 15, so you really didn't have a lot of choice, but what made you choose to stay here and be involved in the community?
I think that's true for a lot of Royal Oak families, especially for those who grew up. You know, yesterday's newspaper talked about people who are going to school and then heading off, and maybe more of them leaving the state than staying in the state. Royal Oak is unique in that there are a number of people who are raised here and become part of the community fabric and want to stay. Both of my brothers just left the state of Michigan. One moved to Illinois and one moved to Colorado. And I'm interested in staying around to help make our community better, our state better. And I think there are a lot of us in Royal Oak who grew up here and have decided that we want to stay around, and our community is important to us.
And our community is much better off because of people like you too. So I appreciate you doing what you do. You give back to the community in so many different ways, and I know that you're a humble kind of guy. You don't want to talk about yourself, but we're not here to talk about me, so I'm going to talk. We could if you'd like.
That sounds good.
Enough about me. What do you think about me? No. You also you still are the coach over at the high school, or you were at some point for baseball?
I had the pleasure of coaching for 5 years at Royal Oak Dondero High School, and then the last 2 years that was open, my assistant coach was Jeff Dinkelman, and he had the dream of coaching where he played varsity baseball. So Jeff got to close out the final 2 seasons at Dondero, and now we have one high school in Royal Oak, and Brian Gordon's the baseball coach there, and I'm not sure where I had the time to do it before. So
I don't know how you find the time to do it. What did you like about the coaching experience? I mean, I do a little bit of coaching, but not on the level that you do. But what makes that so exciting?
It's really neat to see a team that comes together with a common goal, and they set aside personal agendas to be able to get it done. And whether that's on a baseball field or in a Boys and Girls Club experience, that's the thing I really do enjoy. And at Dondero, we had great success as a baseball team, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching kids develop and be able to hear and see them come back now, wanting to be involved and be able to tell me. I had a kid call me the other day. He has a 6-year-old who he wants to get involved in the Royal Oak Sandlot League. I was like, how do you have a 6-year-old? You know, you shouldn't have a 6-year-old. You're just 16. No, but he's not anymore.
Not anymore. In your mind,
yes,
he's still
right,
16.
Exactly.
Well, you probably see a lot of kids travel through the whole system, and you know, one of the things that I always like about the coaching is you see the light bulb go on over their head, and they finally get it, and I guess that's what it's all. It makes it all worthwhile.
Very true. Now,
you've probably also seen kids that stay in Royal Oak, and you've coached them, you've been friends with them, and you see them today on a daily basis. Is that something that keeps you coming back for more?
Yeah, in fact, I've got one gentleman who works for me at the Boys and Girls Club, another who's a good friend who lives on 11 Mile and is raising his 3 kids, is very interested in the new pharmacy that's going in at 11 and Woodward to make sure that meets all of his needs. And you see him involved in this kid's life and in the schools and wanting to see that we have good schools in our community. It's great to see kids like him who are now in their 30s feeling a sense of ownership for our community.
There are a lot of cities out there that, and I don't want to be a snob, so to speak, but there are a lot of cities out there that would like to be like Royal Oak, and it's hard to just create something like that. And do you agree with that, or?
Yeah, I think we have the benefit of our forefathers. You know, we are fortunate in our community. There's been leaders and leaders and leaders for decades in our community. It's been important for them to establish a vibrant downtown, a strong school system, a good library, a farmer's market. You think of all of the different nonprofits that are in our community. There isn't a single community that looks like ours.
All right, and we're going to get back and we're going to let you continue to talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, in just a little while, we're going to be back with Brett Tillander. After this break, don't go anywhere. Thank you. Brett.
This program is made possible by a grant from Billings Lawn Equipment in Royal Oak. Billings is the area leader in lawn and snow equipment sales and service. Whether you're a professional landscaper or you do it yourself, Billings' knowledgeable staff can help you with all your equipment needs. Billings' parts department is fully stocked with replacement parts and accessories. And Billings' expert service department will repair it properly the first time. Billings Lawn Equipment. It's where the pros go.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. Of course, we have here Brett Tillander, the director of the Boys and Girls Club, and he was just in the middle of telling us about what a great city Royal Oak is. Of course, we already know that. But before the break, Brett, you were talking about something that I run into a lot of people, and I'm sure you do too, that basically say the same thing about Royal Oak, and it's a city that makes all of us stay here, is the fact that we're all in this together. It is truly a community. And we may not agree with one another once in a while, and there may be different factions, but I think you hit it on the head that we're all going in the same direction. And that is one of the things that make this community such a great place to live and to work. Do you agree with that?
I do. There's so many different folks where you see that is demonstrated, and that's what has inspired me over the years, whether it was folks like a Jim Johnson or folks like Jack Salter or others who have led in our community. Tom Neville, who just retired from Royal Oak High School. There's so many of those who have stood tall over the years, and it's just, you know, we have a responsibility to make sure that Royal Oak is available for our youth as they mature, and there's a lot of work that we have to do to make sure that that's possible.
Well, it sounds kind of cliche to say that, but the youth is obviously our future. I mean, in just a little while, we're going to have some Eagle Scouts here that are a good example of, you know, the type of youth that we have. They're going to be our leaders someday. You, as a director of the Boys and Girls Club, you must see kids on a daily basis that have potential and just need a little direction or a little help now and then. Tell us what an average day for Brett Tillander and your staff over there.
Sure. You know, at the Boys and Girls Club, we have a variety of programs in a variety of different areas. Those would be in whether it's, and there's really something for every kid at the Boys and Girls Club, whether they have a passion for art, or they need help after school with homework, or they need more one-on-one help with tutoring, or they really love athletics and sports. There's something for every kid at the Boys and Girls Club, and all of the programs and services at the club, and this is the part that's always amazing to me, is that it's all available for $25 a year.
That is amazing. I mean, $25 is,
right.
That's nothing, basically.
And then you look at the impact that program has on the kids through the professional staff. The staff team that is assembled at the Boys and Girls Club has always been the difference maker. Jack Salter told me from the beginning that I took this position and when he was the executive director that the difference in a successful Boys and Girls Club isn't the executive director. The difference is the staff who connect with the kids. And that's what we're fortunate to be able to have. And the kids who come to the club today, and one of the things we're fortunate was we have a strong, supportive business base and individuals in the community and the surrounding area who care about the Boys and Girls Club. And the investment that they make in the Boys and Girls Club today pays off beyond my time at the club and often beyond their time here. You know, there's a young man who is now a very successful parent and who really cares about the kids that he has, who, when he was a young kid coming to the club, if it wasn't for the club, he wouldn't be the parent he is today, and that's some 30 years later. And you realize that when people were contributing in the late 70s and 80s, they didn't know that that dividend would pay out for years to come. We'd all like that in our savings account to be able to get those types of dividends.
Yeah, that kind of return, you'd be
Sure.
a rich man, and I guess we are.
That's right. So,
Well, one of the, it is amazing, and you couldn't do this alone. And I think one of the things that, again, makes Royal Oak such a great place to be in this area is that you do have the support. I think you alluded to it. You have the support of businesses and civic leaders and a whole host of different people who come to you and give you basically whatever the instruments that you need to basically help the kids. Could you do it without that type of support?
that's the beauty about Boys and Girls Clubs. In 1958, when our club was started, it was a little log cabin at the same location that it's at today. And the Boy Scouts,
there are a lot of people out there
met
who remember that.
They sure do.
Yeah.
The Boy Scouts used to meet there. That was the Royal Oak Troop met in that location. And for that to start out that way, where a community came together and said we need a safe place for kids to go that's affordable, that teaches lessons that will last a lifetime, it still happens today. And if the community didn't come together, Boys and Girls Clubs in this community or in any community across the country would cease to exist. We did bring a present for you.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Well, you like that. Usually we get the presents at the commission meeting, but
Well,
I mean.
Thought we'd bring yours over personally.
I noticed you had something there. What is that?
This is from Denzel, Washington. Denzel is our national spokesperson for Boys and Girls Clubs. And Denzel wrote a book called A Hand to Guide Me, which is a series of stories about mentors who made a big difference in their life. And Denzel donated all of the proceeds of that book to the Boys and Girls Club. And our current chair of the board did a little inscription in the cover for you, Tom Violante from Holiday Market. And we're just thrilled to be able to give it to you and give you some more inspiration and content for your Monday meetings or your Monday shows.
Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that, and I was only kidding when I said you had to bring me a gift, but I really do appreciate that, and I will cherish this. Denzel is very active in the Boys and Girls Club, correct?
He's a great example of somebody when they were young, an organization that was there to invest in him, to give him the opportunity, and here's another example of the impact a Boys and Girls Club can have. Our first Youth of the Year in 1958 is the head of the Tampa Bay Devil Race farm system, Jim
Really?
Hoff. And we've got a thoracic surgeon from 1975, Gary Klein, who practices in Scarsdale, New York. But you know what? Those are just some of them. There's so many others who just stand up and are good men and women in our community and around the country who've benefited from people like yourself and people in our community who've chosen to make a difference to the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. There's a lot of, I guess, misconceptions out there that when I was at the Boys Club a long time ago, as I said, it was a place to keep kids off the street and build birdhouses, and we played pool and things. And I guess if I would have stayed with it, I would have, traveled through the program. But I don't think a lot of people understand the impact that an organization like that has on kids when they're younger, and kids who are basically good kids, but they just need a little direction and a little structure in their life. And who would know that an organization like that could be so valuable?
So one of the benefits, we found a lot of people who are moving into the city of Royal Oak who've come from other communities, or kids, people who have to move away because of looking for a job, maybe to Ohio. If they come here and they find a Boys and Girls Club, they're thrilled. But if they are moving away, how disappointed they are that the community they're moving to doesn't have a Boys and Girls Club.
Well, we're fortunate to have such
blessed to have that.
Now, just have a couple more minutes here, but for $25 a year, a kid, a boy or a girl, and a family could basically benefit from the program. What are some of the things, I know that you have a bunch of different programs this time of the year. What are some of the things that are going on out there, like fundraisers and different functions that we can get involved in the community?
Well, this time of the year is our time for our Walk for the Future, and Beaumont Hospital is the host for the walk this year. And we have probably 400 to 500 people who will be walking on behalf of the Boys and Girls Club.
And if somebody were interested in something, that they could call the club, call you, and figure out how they can help. And there's a whole bunch of other things that people should and could do to be involved. And Brett, I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Brett Tillander, he's the director of the Boys and Girls Club, and I now have a book to be able to read. So, thank you very much. I'm going to do that.
Join us on the next Royal Oak Show when Carlo visits with children's advocate Jeff Houston. Plus, the Desperate House Guys will join us for some comic relief, and a very special guest you do not want to miss. The Royal Oak Show will return in a moment. Stay tuned.
This program is made possible by a grant from Tricolor Graphics, Detroit's premier imaging center. Tricolor Graphics specializes in printing image files with state-of-the-art equipment. Fine art reproduction, digital photo output, light box graphics, signs and banners. Whatever your graphics needs, Tricolor Graphics has 40 years of experience of doing it all in Royal Oak. Photo mounting, laminating, finishing, restoration, and retouching. Tricolor Graphics is your one-stop graphics leader. To learn more, visit tricolorgraphics.com. That's Tricolor, Grafix.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. Our next guest, you know him very well. Actually, he's Commissioner John McCulloch from the Oakland County Drain Commission. John, welcome aboard. All right. Thank you very much for coming on. I know you're very busy this time of the year. Well, actually, you're busy all the time, but I do appreciate you coming on the Royal Oak Show.
Thanks for having me.
I was going to ask you if you've seen the show, but I'm sure everyone has seen the show.
I have. I have.
Now, John, you are the Drain Commissioner. You are the head cheese, so to speak, for the entire Oakland County. The water and sewer and everything that happens in our community. You're the guy, right?
I'm the guy.
But people don't know that you're actually you're a Royal Oaker too, and you have been for quite some time. That's you live here in Royal Oak.
Actually born, raised, and settled.
And that's what a coincidence. And we had you on the Royal Oak Show too. So, what keeps you here in Royal Oak?
Well, I think obviously Royal Oak is a real key community in the southeastern part of the county, and obviously has a lot to offer with a vibrant downtown and great neighborhoods, great schools. So it certainly was a pleasure growing up in this community, and look forward to raising my family here.
And we're glad we have you here as well. One of the things that's kind of interesting is doing this show and also being part of the commission and being part of the community is I don't think a lot of people realize the level of talent we have right here in Royal Oak. I mean, yourself, you're included, our last guest, Brad Tillander, just the type and the quality of people that are here, it's very impressive. You hobnob with all the big shots when you're around Royal Oak?
Well, I'm not sure about hobnobbing, but
you're here on the Royal Oak
that's
Show.
Right,
So.
that's right.
Well, as the Drain Commissioner, how long have you been the Drain Commissioner now?
Just over 6 years now.
Okay, and that's an elected official position, correct?
Countywide elected office.
Right. Well, I got to ask you the same question I ask all my guests. What got you involved in what you're doing now? I mean, how did you get to that spot in your life? What made you go in that direction?
Well, ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to be Drain Commissioner. No, actually, that is a common question.
Okay.
But as you well know, I was County Commissioner for 10 years prior to Drain Commissioner, and in that role, as Chairman of the Board, I was involved with the Drain Office, and when my predecessor, George Kuhn, retired after 28 years, I really looked at an opportunity to effectuate some changes and do some things that I felt needed to be done in the county. So I decided to run for the office.
And you were successful, obviously, and the rest is history. What does the Drain Commissioner, what do you do? You describe a day in John McCulloch's life.
Well, it's pretty varied.
We're on tape, too.
Yes,
so
yes, I understand. Obviously, Oakland County has 61 communities, and each community is unique and requires different priorities in regards to water and sewer and drain issues. So obviously, it's diversified, and so no one day is the same.
Every day there's something a little different. You're always asked to solve a problem or address some issue, and as the community grows, I would imagine, so do your problems and the issues. I mean, Oakland County, you were a county commissioner for 10 years, did you say?
Correct.
And I would imagine Oakland County has changed, and this area has changed in that time too.
Very much so. I think the Office of Drain Commissioner primarily dealt with drainage issues, stormwater, and I think as communities developed, the role and responsibilities were expanded. So it involved water systems and wastewater systems. So again, no one community is the same, and each community requires different support services, and that's really what my office offers to the 61 communities here in the county.
How has this area, the Royal Oak, the southeast Oakland County, how have we changed other than just more people and more businesses? You've been representing this section of the county for quite some time as a county commissioner, and now as a resident here. Obviously you represent the entire county, but you've been around and you've seen it change. What are some of the big changes that you've seen in this area?
Well, the population concentration really is here in the southeastern part of the county, and the communities down in this end of the county are the more mature counties or communities within the county, and their systems are older, so I think the many challenges evolve around their aging infrastructure and some of the issues associated with that infrastructure. So that's been my concentration, to try to deal with not only water issues but also sewer issues in relation to that aging infrastructure.
And we as a community down on this side of the county, we do share many different things in common. And again, we're the older communities. It's probably a lot easier, I shouldn't say easier, but nothing's easy in your job, I know that, but it's probably more manageable on the out-county areas than it is down in these areas where you do have to deal with aging infrastructures. How do you work with the communities, like Royal Oak, for instance, to address those issues?
Well, nothing that tremendous amounts of money wouldn't solve, you know.
And I hear that's right around the corner. I guess we're going to be getting that money pretty soon.
That's right.
From the county.
Just any day now. No, I think one of the challenges is the fact that I don't have magic pots of money. Really, all the systems, all the support services are supported by ratepayers or funding from specific systems. And again, the challenges down here is garnering sufficient funds to solve these issues. I think a lot of these systems were built with a lot of federal funds, funds that don't exist today. So with the systems aging, I think the big challenge is where we're going to get the money to maintain and preserve these systems.
And as a city, we don't have that problem with finances because we have unlimited funds available to us. So you probably don't get a lot of call from Royal Oak saying...
you heard it here first, unlimited funds. So
just here, though. No one else is listening. No, having you as a member of our community, obviously, for many different reasons, is an honor. But we do have a lot in common, the city of Royal Oak as well as the county. A lot of our services overlap. We are responsible for the people in Royal Oak, and you're obviously responsible for the people in Oakland County, but there's a lot of overlap. How do you usually deal with that? I mean, I know the city commissioner in Royal Oak is probably the easiest one you have to deal with.
Well, it's
that was
really,
a joke, by the way.
Yes,
so.
yes. It's really up to the communities, and part of my job is educating local officials as yourself as to what services are available, how we can work together, streamline cost. And again, one size doesn't fit all. There are communities that literally we are the public works department for those communities. Farmington Hills, for example, is one of our largest communities that we in effect are their public works department. But again, it's really up to the communities and their elected officials as to what they really want and where we can help them.
Oh, good. John, we're going to take a little break here. When we come back, I'm going to get a little bit more detail about what you do and why you're here. And ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with John McCulloch in just a few minutes.
This program is made possible by a grant from Bright Ideas. Bright Ideas for the dining room. Bright Ideas for the living room. Bright Ideas for the den. Bright Ideas for the bedroom. Bright Ideas for the home are at Bright Ideas, fine contemporary furnishings in Royal Oak and Southfield.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Royal Oak Show. We have with us Commissioner John McCulloch. John, before we went on a break, like that, I almost yelled at you. John, kind of startled you. Before we went on a break, we were talking about some of the interplay between local communities and the county. And one that jumps to mind, I think, almost immediately to anyone who lives, works in this area, is the George W. Kuhn, the drain. That project was a massive project, and excuse me, from what I understand, it was fairly successful. You want to tell us a little bit about what that meant to the community and how we did it?
Sure. That's the old 12-town, as it was previously referred to, and that served 14 communities down in the southeastern part of the county to deal with not only their stormwater but sewer issues as well. It was built originally in the early 70s, and of course with increased mandates under the Clean Water Act, we were put in a position in the late 90s where we needed to expand that and improve it. So of course those 14 communities came together along with my office and put a plan together to deal with that. And of course that's critical for Royal Oak, because Royal Oak ends up paying close to 30% of that project. What that facility is I refer to it as an underground basin that captures overflow during rain events and avoids it going into people's basements or impacting the rivers and streams. So that expansion cost the ratepayers about $144 million. Expanded that from a 90 million gallon capacity to close to 120 million capacity.
And it took, how many years did it take? I know we've been talking about it.
Yeah, 5-year project, and we just completed that and opened it up last June.
Okay.
And it's working very well.
And have you got any complaints? Anybody want you to
No,
dig it up
no
or
complaints.
change your mind or whatever?
No, no.
What?
Other than the real challenge, of course, is obviously that cost of the improvement as well as the operating cost are now going to be shared by those 14 communities, and we're obviously trying to keep it to a minimum.
That's good. We appreciate that. So, but everybody has to pay their bill, I would imagine. Well, before that time, we had a lot of problems with drains and everything else, and has that alleviated some of the problems that we've experienced?
Yes, and it also has improved the water quality. People don't realize that Oakland County is really at the top of the hill, so anything that we do here in the county affects the rest of the region. And our neighbors to the east, Macomb County, we're concerned about beach closings and such, and I'm pleased to say that the improvements we've made have greatly enhanced the water quality, not only here in Oakland County, but also for our neighbors.
Oh. Now, it's been a while, but I remember there used to be an open, was it on DeQuinder? There was
Yes.
that was part of the drain, right?
Yep, still is.
And but it's not open anymore, correct?
Well,
As
it
a
is open just on the other side of DeQuinder, near about 13.5 mile, and that's really the outlet for the 12-town or the George W. Kuhn. When weather is good, we send all the flow down to Detroit for treatment, but in the event of a large rain event, if the basin, that 120 million capacity basin, can't handle it, we do treat it and screen it and then send the overflow down the river.
Is it good fishing?
Well,
Depends on
our
what you
goal
want
is
to
not-
catch,
yeah,
right?
That's right. But we do meet Clean Water Act standards, which I think is the most important aspect.
I mean, we've talked before. We've known each other for a while, and I know some of the interesting things that we've talked about is some of the historical perspectives of the drain system. You didn't have anything to do with it, but the covering of Vincetta, was it the Red Run? Was it a creek or a river?
It was a creek that ran into the Red Run and then ultimately to the Clinton River.
And a lot of people don't know that Vincetta used to be an actual flowing river, correct? Before your time, was it before your time?
Yes, just a couple of years prior to me taking office. But I think that you found was a common element, that people used to dispose of their waste and runoff into the open rivers and streams, and historically, to eliminate the challenges faced with that runoff, they used to enclose them. So Vincetta is a prime example of enclosing the creek.
That's why they still have the little bridges over there.
That's correct.
Now, one of the other things that I always found to be interesting is not too long ago we had an opportunity to talk about the pipes and sewers, and there's lines all over the county, and especially down in this area where it's all developed. How do you keep track? I mean, here's a very simple question. How do you keep track of all the pipes and lines and everything else? Do you have somebody in charge of that?
Actually, I thought you guys were keeping track of it. No.
Oh, yes, we are. I'm going to make a phone call right now. But I mean, I mean, most people don't understand. It's an incredible system of pipes and drains and everything else. And what do you do to keep track? And whose responsibility is that?
Yeah, you're talking thousands of miles, and we keep in our office records of the easements as to where that infrastructure lies. And of course, in Royal Oak, you have that underground pipe system that's close to 100 years old. The challenge that Royal Oak and surrounding communities face is a lot of that pipe system was put in the ground, and then homes and buildings and churches were built over it. So the real challenge with that 100-year-old infrastructure is what happens when there comes a time where it has to be replaced, and what impact that it may have on those structures.
And that responsibility, basically, of keeping track of that is a shared community, county responsibility?
Yes, yes it is.
Well, I know that now. I'll make sure that I know, let the other commissioners know. What are some of the high points of your job that you have now? You're somebody who I would imagine, I know that you enjoy your job now. What are some of the high points? What keeps you going back to work?
Well, I think the completion of the George W. Kuhn, which was to meet clean water mandates. I'm pleased to say that here in the county we have met all the clean water mandates. And that means a lot because there's a lot of areas in this country that haven't even started to meet the needs under the Clean Water Act. So we are well ahead of the curve. I think some of the challenges going forward is to try to minimize these ever-increasing water and sewer rates. I think major providers like Detroit Water and Sewer and certainly local communities and county systems, we're all struggling with how we're going to do that. And
that could be a subject for another complete show.
Very much so.
Maybe we can have you back. John, I'm very happy that you're a Royal Oak resident, and I'm very happy to have you here on the Royal Oak Show. Ladies and gentlemen, John McCulloch. Don't go back. We're going to be here with the Boy Scout Roundup.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you wish to get tickets for upcoming shows, simply go to royaloakshow.com and click on tickets. They're free and easy to print, assuming you have a printer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. Our next guest, or guest, shall I say, we are very honored to have 5 Royal Oak Eagle Scouts, or candidates for the Eagle Scout badge. I'm going to get right in, and I'm going to have these guys introduce themselves because they've just been chomping at the bit, and I don't think I can keep them quiet any longer. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Royal Oak Show. And you guys you do make a very impressive group of young lads, shall I say. Why don't we start over here? You introduce yourself and tell me what troop you're with.
My name is Ethan Hutton. I'm with Troop 1610, and we're dog hunting.
All right.
My name is Marcus Withers, and I'm with Troop 1629.
I'm Justin Seymour. I'm with Troop 1615.
Back there in our back row.
My name is Jared Barrick. I happen to be the youngest of the 5 of us up here at 16. I am also with Troop 1615, along with Justin Seymour here. So.
And last but certainly not least, we have
Scott Corey from Troop 1629.
All right. Well, again, welcome, guys. Listen, you know, I was in the Boy Scouts a long time ago, long time ago, when we used to wear those funny little hats. And I don't think I made it much past, I think, was it first class or tenderfoot? I can't remember which one it was. But I remember as a Boy Scout, we used to always look up to you guys, Eagle Scouts. Let me understand this. You guys, all of you, have either earned your Eagle Scout award, or you're in the last stages of getting the award. Is that correct? Who actually has the Eagle? All right. And the other 2 you're in the final stages.
Yep.
And you should have pretty soon, correct?
Pretty soon.
All right. And you guys are all in Royal Oak troops, correct?
Yes.
And you all live in Royal Oak?
I don't. I'm the oddball.
Well, but you're in a Royal Oak troop.
I'm in a
correct?
Royal Oak troop, yeah. I live a stone's throw from Royal Oak. I live Cross Campbell.
All right. And let me get this straight. I'm gonna let you guys do a little talking because you guys were all talking a lot before the camera came on.
We were making fun of him.
Let me ask this question. Let me set this up. I'll be your straight man here. Only 2 or 4%? Is it 2 or 4? I was corrected a few
We'll
times.
say 3.
All right. We'll cut
They
the.
say 2 over there, so.
We'll split the difference. A very small percentage of young men that go into scouting and do what they're required to do ever reach the rank and the level that you guys are. Is that fair enough to say?
Yeah.
All right, and we've got 5, and perhaps there's actually 2 of you that couldn't come tonight, but there's 7 in Royal Oak. Is it something in the water, or is it? What do you attribute that to? I did that for Commissioner McCulloch. Who's still out there.
Actually, another thing that Detroit Area Council, that's their council, they set up a thing called Trail to Eagle. And Trail to Eagle is something where they go and they focus on getting merit badges. So the percent of Eagle Scouts from the kids who join first is a little bit higher than it is everywhere else.
And that's something that's just peculiar to the Detroit Council, did you say?
Yep.
Right, and it's probably attributable to the adult leadership you have too, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Oh yeah, some of our leaders have been very strong over the years. Our former scoutmaster, Mr. Kirby, has been with our troop for over 40 years. I believe 50 Eagle Scouts he's had, so he's been there a long time and really good guy.
And it is incredible. I guess we were joking around a lot before the cameras came on, but I really am, I'm proud of you guys. Let me talk to you, Scott, since you spoke up first. Each one of you had to do, that'll teach you, in order to get the award itself. I mean, and a lot of people out there don't know what you guys had to go through. It's other than you, you're usually about 17 or 18 years old, correct? And you guys have been working on this badge for quite some time. Tell me, Scott, what the average scout has to do to achieve such a rank?
Well, it probably starts when you're around first class. You start earning merit badges, and yeah, you have to get 21 merit badges, certain which are required. What merit badges are just like badges that show that you've learned some skill or tried some activity, and those can be pretty tough. And then usually after the merit badges is the Eagle Scout Service Project, which you do some service, you do some project for the community that benefits, and you have to have, be a leader to direct other scouts and adults and other community members.
So it's not something that you can do overnight?
Oh, no.
No. Maybe 2 days it takes you?
Oh, you haven't, I think I started my Eagle project I started writing it up in September of '06. I finished it March of '07.
Is there still hope for me? Can I still get my Eagle?
Are you under 18?
Yes, I am, as far as you know.
Yep,
we've got two segments here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what each one of you have done to get to this level. But I understand you also have a special merit badge that you got tonight, being on the Royal Oak Show.
Yeah,
We're working on it.
Each one of you are wearing a little makeup tonight. Is that my?
Just a little.
Yeah.
We got the official makeup wearing merit badge. It's very prestigious.
What does that look like? What is that? Is that the little?
It has a clown on it.
Oh, it's got a picture of me in it. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
We weren't going to tell you that.
No, guys, I'm going to tell you what. We're going to break for a little commercial here, and then we're going to come back and get a little serious and talk about what you've done. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with the Royal Oak Eagle Scouts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. We've got some limited time and we've got a lot of ground to cover, so I'm going to start with Marcus Withers, sitting in the middle there, and he's going to tell us what his service project was and what he got out of that project.
Well, my service project was I landscaped a home for a charity called Angel's Place. It has a bunch of homes all around the area, and the homes are for developmentally disabled adults. So,
what was one of the things that really impressed you? What stuck out from your service project?
okay.
You learned how to landscape, I bet you.
Yeah. Okay. The thing I took most from my project was working with all the people at the house who live there.
Did you run into some of the residents that were there?
Yeah,
Did you see them on a daily basis?
Work.
And did they come out and say thanks for doing this, and were they really appreciative?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they helped.
Would you do it again?
Because they were really enthusiastic about the project and just wanted to help as much as they could.
Jared, I'm going to back to you. What was your service project?
My service project. God, everybody's having trouble saying that. Well, mine was to help out the church that my troop is chartered through, the St. John's United Methodist Church, at about 13 in Rochester Road. They're having problems with membership. It's declining. the members there are increasing in age, and they just don't have enough people to work around the church. So I went and helped them redo the outside and some of the grounds around the church.
Oh, great. Ethan, what was your project and what did you find interesting about it?
I created comfort kits for the Beaumont Pediatrics oncology unit for the patients. It had like a fleece blanket and kind of like a night off from the treatments, I guess you could say. I guess it was kind of like getting to see the smiles on their faces, you know, like after the kids when you give it to them, it kind of really makes a difference. And I had a fun time. There's so many, you wouldn't believe how many people in the community can just come out and really make a difference. Like just show up, you know, looking at you have to create like a list of like people who come and just look down and wow, that's amazing kind of thing.
So it was pretty interesting for you?
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I can't wait for the spokesman of the group.
All right, so
What was your
that now?
Yeah.
All right, mine was my home church, which is also in Royal Oak. My home church they're having a big renovation. It's going to cost $1.6 million, and my project was...
You gave them $1.6 million?
Yeah, it was a lot of work. No, mine was, I renovated one room. I renovated the junior room, which the 4th through 6th graders stay in. I put up a whole bunch of walls and painted them, redo them. We're trying to get some carpet in and whatnot. And but that was after my part was done. And I think, you know, the biggest thing that a lot of us, you know, take from our Eagle projects is the fact that you have to lead it. It's all you leading, it's all you planning, and the one thing you learn is leading is not as easy as it looks. I have a tremendous respect for people who lead now because of what I've had to go through Scouts and my Eagle project.
Yeah, well, that. Wiser words couldn't have been said. Scott, tell us what you've done, then we're going to go back to Marcus and see if he's... Scott, tell us what your project was.
Well, whenever anybody ever asks what I did, I always like to say that I hand-carved toys for kids dying of cancer. And that's kind of the official title, but in reality I kind of built toys and bought toys for kids at Beaumont Hospital and yeah, donated, and I also kind of finished and painted a table, so because like they just rebuilt the peds ward, and so they don't have a lot of stuff in it. It's pretty barren, you know, they're just trying to fill her up, and that's what I helped do.
Oh, and did you find that? I mean, what did you take from that?
The preparation, I mean, you know, the amount of work before the actual project, because I mean the project, you know.
Did you actually get to meet the kids and everything else? And
yep.
Did you find it? Was it interesting to see the looks on their faces?
To work, yeah, it was a great feeling, you know, warm in the heart.
Well, that's good. Guys, I'm going to tell you what. We're at the end of the section. It's hard to interview you guys and get into detail, and I really appreciate you coming by. And I know as a community we're very proud of what you guys have achieved, and I hope that you continue on and become the leaders that I know that all of you are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the leaders of tomorrow. Thanks a lot, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. We have a very special guest with us right now. We have comedian Chrissy Burns, a regular at the Riviera Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, not to mention a regular right here in Mark Ridley's in Royal Oak, as well as, and she made sure I told you this, she's a favorite on U.S. military bases. Ladies and gentlemen, Chrissy Burns.
Thank you. I was very excited. They told me I was going to be performing for the troops, and I didn't realize it was Boy Scout Troop 629. But it is good to be here. I was almost late getting here because I was running behind, and I almost got a speeding ticket. But I had some Krispy Kreme donuts in the car, and I threw them out the window and distracted him, so that was cool. And I was actually late because I was coming from the doctor, and I'd just gotten a new insurance plan. And you know how you have to pick a doctor that participates in your plan? A girlfriend said, Chrissy, go see my doctor. He's great. He's young. He's handsome. He's single. He's got a sense of humor. I'm thinking, all right, I'll go. Wear my thong. Make a day of it. So, see, it's always nervous laughter from the studio audience. You don't think she really wears a thong, do you? So I go to the doctor, and I'm sitting in the examination room, and I've got my clothes off. And the doctor comes in, and he was good looking, very handsome. But he didn't say a whole lot. He just kind of did the examination. He finished up. He said, okay, you can put your clothes back on. And when you come to pick up your glasses, you... Apparently you don't need to be naked for an eye exam. But But I'm glad I didn't get pulled over on the way from the doctor. Last time I got pulled over, I was in North Dakota, and I got pulled over by one of their state police, which means he was wearing the Smokey the Bear hat. Now, I have great respect for police officers, and I do love a man in uniform, but that hat, it just makes me giggle. He came walking up to the car. He says, "Ma'am, do you know why I pulled you over?" And all I could think was, "'Cause you caught me stealing a picnic basket." Yeah, don't say that. They get really mad when you make fun of their hats. But I am glad to be here because I'm skipping Weight Watchers to be here, so I'm really happy to be. I'm always dieting. It's hard to diet. I live alone. I know where I hide the cookies. And I've tried them all. Right now I'm on those Thin Mints. Sorry, boys, but the Girl Scouts make a great cookie. Have you read the side of the box, though? On the Thin Mints, it says 1 serving, 4 cookies. Oh, that's a big lie. 1 serving, 1 sleeve. That box has 2 servings in it. Yeah. I tried to diet. First I tried just eating a lot of salad and stuff, but then they started recalling all the bags of lettuce. And so I figured that was a sign from God, because you don't hear them recalling bags of Snickers bars now, do you? You know what? And it's hard because I'm the only one in my family who struggles with weight. My sister is an aerobics instructor. Oh, yeah. And a vegetarian. So she's real condescending. I don't know how you can eat a dead animal. Because them live ones are putting up a fight. How about you eat your salad and shut up? Actually, my sister and I, we don't get along. Listen to this. She had a garage sale, and I went to it, and for sale, she had every birthday and Christmas present I'd ever given her. Oh, yeah, so I bought it all. She's getting that stuff again this year. Funniest person in my family's got to be my mom. My mom is 76 years old, and she says funny stuff all the time and doesn't realize how funny it is. When I first moved back to Michigan, I asked her, I said, "Wow, is Meijer open 24 hours now?" She said, "Oh, yes, they open at 6. She had me come over there the other night to watch a movie with her. When I get there, there's a commercial on. She says, "Shh, shh, I love this commercial. This guy is so funny. He should be on TV." That ain't the radio you're staring at, Mom. We were waiting for the tape to rewind, and this story came on the news about this woman who got hit by lightning, and she had a near-death experience. And my mom says, "Oh, I wonder if she saw a bright light." Mom, she got hit by lightning? She was the bright light. She takes the tape, she puts it in the VCR. Yes, my parents still have a VCR, and it's always blinking 12 at their house. And it comes up on the screen, "This movie has been formatted to fit your television screen." I promise you, my mom's, "How do they know how big our TV is?" I love my mom. I actually talked to my mom on the phone before I got here because I don't have caller ID. And my mom's messed up on the phone. She plays this game on the phone. She doesn't know it's a game. I call it a game. It's called Guess Who Died? Yeah, we'll be having a fairly normal phone conversation. My mom will stop suddenly and go, "Guess who died?" I'm thinking, does she really want me to guess? "Hey, is Dad there?" "Chrissy, that's not funny." "Oh, yes, it is." People at Royal Oak Live thought that was hilarious. I'm a comedian. I know it's funny. My mom worries about me being a comedian. She worries about people I have to deal with in the industry. Club bookers, club owners. There was a guy. Saginaw, Michigan. He owned a comedy club. I'd never met him face to face, but I wanted to work in his club. I'm talking to him on the phone. He says, "Well, Chrissy, what kind of humor do you do?" "I don't know. I tell a few fat jokes." He says, "Really? Are you fat?" As a matter of fact, "Yes, sir, I am." He says, "Wow, you don't sound fat." I actually looked at the phone. I'm thinking, now what does fat sound like? Moo. Moo. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Very, very funny, I'll tell you.
Well, thanks. I have a lot of fun performing.
Now, you had a little trouble getting down here. Somebody gave you some bad directions. Is that true?
I believe you gave me some bad directions, Carlo.
Anybody that knows me, Chrissy, knows that you never ask me for directions, I'll tell you. I know how to get from my home to work and maybe sometimes back. That's
but
it.
I didn't ask you for directions. You offered them.
Anybody that knows me, you never take
it. Get me lost.
No, thank you very much for coming on. Now, I introduced you tonight as a regular at the Riviera Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, which is great. If I'm ever out there, we're going to come and see you.
That's great.
And you're a regular at the Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle.
Comedy Castle right here in Royal Oak.
It's a great place.
Yes, Mark Ridley has just been a great friend and a great mentor as far as with most of the comedians in the Detroit area. If he knows comedy like nobody else. So.
And he's been sending us people over here, and hopefully we've started a new tradition.
That'd be great.
But the one thing, and then I'm going to let you get into where you're going to be so people can see you and enjoy you, but you were stressed that you were a favorite on U.S. military bases. I got to ask you about that. What do you do?
Like I said, I love a man in uniform, and I love a man out of uniform. My UPS guy's pretty afraid of me, actually.
I think I read that headline.
That's right. I've performed at several military bases across the country, and it's always a rewarding experience. And the guys and the women in uniform also, they're so appreciative. And so, in fact, I actually wear the bracelets. In fact, I wear a red, white, and blue bracelet for all our service personnel, and then I wear the yellow bracelet for Lance Armstrong. Because I feel that I need to have a hero in my life. I'm a cancer survivor myself. And then I wear a bracelet, and I'm going to give this to you since other people are giving you gifts. It simply says laughter on it. It's a bracelet I designed myself, and it reminds me to keep laughter in my life every day because I think that's something very important.
Wow,
so
well,
if you will take that, that'd be great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear this, and I'm going to wear it with pride.
It also works as a vacuum cleaner belt. It fits the Hoover and not the Eureka.
See, you wouldn't know that we actually need a vacuum cleaner belt.
There you go.
But thank you very much. If people want to come and enjoy it, Chrissy, where are you going to be next?
My next performance is very special to me. It's very close to my heart. It's for Gilda's Club. Right here in Royal Oak, Gilda's Club is a cancer support network named for Gilda Radner of Saturday Night Live fame, who passed away from ovarian cancer. The organization is now run by her brother Michael Radner, and they are having what's called Gilda's Big Night Out, which is Thursday, May 17th.
Okay, so by the time the people out there get to see this, we'll be able to enjoy that. We had people from the Gilda's Club here as well.
It's a
Chrissy,
wonderful function.
I can't thank you enough for coming by, and I'm going to wear this with pride, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chrissy Burns. And that's it for the Royal Oak Show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for next time at the Royal Oak Show, and I can't wait to be back with you. Thank you very much.